Hi, good morning, or good evening if it's evening where you are, but it's morning where I am. It is a very early morning. Sun's not even up yet. I just wanted to come on and see what I had to say this morning. I'm gonna breathe like usual. If you want to breathe with me, feel free. I often talk about a ladder, and that ladder is your extension in and out of hell. It is your extension from the lowest existence to the highest existence. And only you can climb the ladder. No one else can do it for you. They can't carry you up. You can't skirt on their tail. You have to climb. And it is a long, hard climb. But when you reach the top, you'll see that everything has been leading up to this moment of your life. The ladder is God's hand. God's hand. That is the hand that you're meant to take. It's the spot of light in the dark. It's the spot of good in the bad. That is God's hand. And you are always meant to take it. You are always meant to take it and let it guide you. Because once you have God's hand, nothing can veer you from your path. Except you. You are the only thing standing in your way. Nobody else. You can't blame others for the things you haven't achieved. You can't blame others for where you're at in life. We can look at the influence of others and see how it has shaped us. But we also must look at the fact that we allowed it to shape us. We allowed it to change who we were. And once you realize that you've been allowing people and you've been allowing others to change who you are, you stop. You stop allowing it. Because when you allow others to take the hard road for you or to influence your life, you're letting go of God's hand. You're letting go. And you're falling back down that ladder. The purpose of us all being here is to influence each other. But we don't want to influence each other for the bad. We want to influence each other for the good. Because when we're all doing good and we're all rising higher, the planet is rising higher. The more of us that get on board, and the more of us that rise higher, and the more of us that awaken to this consciousness, the more alive the planet becomes. And the planet is going to recover. It will. Because it was never truly broken. It was never truly damaged. It was only damaged in the eye of the people. Earth is a mirror. Earth reflects what we reflect onto it. And if we reflect our negativity, it reflects negativity back to us. Why do you think the elites keep us down? Because they feed off the negative energy. They are the opposite end of the spectrum. And there's a lot of things that feed off of your energy if you let it. Everything in this life can be draining. But when you feel something that's draining, you have to know how to walk away. You have to know how to let it go. And you're not going to be able to do that unless you take God's hand in the dark. Unless you find that speck of light. And until you're searching for it, until you are consciously looking for the light, the good and the bad at all moments, until then, you will not be in harmony. Because that's how you rise. You find your balance. God was never looking for perfection. He was never looking for you to be good. He was looking for purity. And purity is just the intent of good at all times. It is a unbreakable lean towards good, even when things are terrible. And if you can exist there, you will find your balance. You will find your harmony. Because it's not about existing in the good. It's not about existing 100% light, 100% good. Nobody can walk that path. Nobody. Nobody can be good all the time because there are choices in life that we sometimes have to make hard decisions. And sometimes those decisions aren't always good. Sometimes there is no good option, but you find the best of the options. That's finding the light. And sometimes the light's not always obvious. Sometimes it's not always there right away. Sometimes it comes after the storm is over. When it comes after the storm is over, you have time to reflect. And it is time to reflect. Excuse me. It's time to reflect on your life. Right now. Reflect on how you live it. How do you live your life? Do you seek the good in the bad? Do you seek the light? Do you find yourself in tough situations and yet somehow you always find your way? If you do, God is guiding you already. And All you have to do is acknowledge him. All you have to do is realize that he's there. As soon as you do, the path gets easier. Because you're no longer walking for the ego, but you are walking for the greater good. And if you walk for the greater good, you have the highest of intent. And having the highest of intent, even in tough moments, is what matters. Because if you can keep that high vibration and you can keep that good intent, you will thrive. You will thrive. But walking the path of good is a hard one. You hit roadblocks because when you walk the path of goodness, the darkness wants to stop you. The darkness doesn't want you to find your way. It wants to manipulate you. It wants to trick you and drag you down. It's like the snake in the garden. It will whisper things in your ear, things that sound nice. But if you step back and look at them, are they really good? Or do they cause harm? Because if it causes harm to yourself or others, it can't be good. And if it doesn't feel good, it's not. This life was meant to feel good. And the bad feelings that we get, those are our guides. Those are the instincts to persevere. This life can be a challenge. It is a challenge. It is the ultimate challenge. This is the ultimate test of your capability to find the seed of light in the dark. And the next part of the test is to plant that seed and grow from it. Grow yourself, grow others. Plant your seeds everywhere you go. Because the more seeds you plant, the more things that grow. And growth is the only goal. Growth. That's it. Grow. Show God that you can grow. Show God that you can take the shit that life throws at you and make it into something new. Transform it. You can. You can transmute the dark and you can transform it into light. Because all darkness is the absence of light. And once you introduce light, the darkness can't hurt you anymore. Turn on the flashlight, light the candle, plant the seed. My brain kind of feels all over the place today. But the ultimate point I just keep hearing is to grow. Just grow. Don't live where you are. Grow. Always. Because there is always room for growth. Even when you think you have hit your highest potential, you can rise higher. If you think you have reached the ultimate life, you can still rise higher. There is always room to rise higher. Just like there's always room to fall lower. Because no one ever truly hits their rock bottom. We hit the moment that God extends a hand and says, that's enough. And when you finally take it, that's when it's over. Because God does step in. He steps into all the dark moments. He's always there. He's always holding your hand, cradling you in the dark. He's always there. But if you ignore him and you don't acknowledge that the light is there and you sit in that dark, you will allow it to consume you. And when you allow it to consume you, it becomes all that you are. Because the darkness is a devouring force. Darkness devours everything in its path. It swallows it up and spits it out. And the only thing for the light to do is to brighten it. You add the light by taking God's hand. And I was not a believer of God. Not in the sense that I didn't believe in a higher power. I believe there were many higher powers. Still believe that there are. I know that there are. But they are not God. They are not gods, and never should have been labeled as gods. They were angels. They were Nephilim. They were spirit guides. They were intelligent beings. But none of them were gods. Humanity labeled them as gods because we saw their goodness and we saw their greatness, because they weren't always good. But we saw their greatness and we assumed that that was God. That's what God looked like. And in reality, it wasn't. God works quietly. He doesn't sit on a throne and demand power, not anymore. He works quietly and he waits patiently. And he never stops offering his hand. Never. Until you shun him, he will always offer his hand. And I believe that I have come to the realization of God because I never shunned him. I never accepted him. But I had a knowing that there was a power that oversees us all. just didn't know what that power was. And now I do. See, I was wounded by family members, by the church, and I found that everywhere I went, where God existed, bad things happened. Everywhere that God was supposed to be, he wasn't. I never found God in church. I found liars, people who are hiding. I found abusers, both physical and sexual abusers that are hiding in the church. People use church as a way to say, I'm good. And going to church doesn't make you good. It doesn't. It makes you a follower. It makes you a sinner. Because when you sit in church, you are idolizing a cross. You are idolizing a figure of a man who was only meant to be a figure. In here. You weren't meant to carve idolatry out of him. You weren't meant to worship things that look like him. God says, you do not worship false idols. And anything that you are praising that is made of a material is a false idol. If you are sitting down in church and staring up at the cross, yes, I understand the symbolism. But that cross was never meant to be worshipped. The worship was not meant to be for the cross. It was meant to be for God. And we worship God in here. We don't worship God in a church. We don't worship God by sitting and listening to someone preach. We connect to God in ourselves. And yes, the idea of church was a good one. It was to bring a collective consciousness together, but people lost sight of that and they got focused on the rules and the idolatry. And they lost sight of what being good really is. They lost sight of what living for God is. I've known many, many godly people who walk a path of darkness. They hide their sins in the darkness. And they pretend that they're better than their own sins. And they're not. And when you think you are better, you think you are above God, you are beneath him. Because you cannot be above God. God is the highest of vibrations. And you can reach your highest potential But you will never be better than God. Because God is pure. God understands entirely the balance of dark and light and how to use the dark and how to use the light. And as soon as you think you're better than that, you've failed. There are a lot of things in this life that bring struggle. But every time you encounter a struggle, you encounter a new chance to rise higher. Every struggle is an opportunity to rise higher, to stand above it, to face it. Remember that this life is a trial. Everything about it is a trial. Trial and error. I don't know. I think that's all I have to say for today. Thanks for listening.